The French Revolution is all over the media still today, and we have some general idea about it. This popular video game shows a lot of symbols that we associate with this event. Big crowds of people in the street, conquerors of Bastille from royal troops, brandishing the red and blue colors of Paris, which will soon turn into the tricolor as a symbol of the new nation. Soon the Marseillaise was composed as the first national anthem. The French Revolution abolished all difference between the nobility, and of a people all became equal citizens. On the other hand, it will produce a lot of violence in France as well outside. However, the French Revolution was not the first big political upheaval in Europe. There were big uprisings in most countries during the centuries before. Let's look at some of them and see what they were about, what they had in common, and how they were different. The first one is the English Revolution. In fact, the most conspicuous similar event was this English Revolution in the middle of the 17th century. Like the French Revolution, the King of England was beheaded in its course. But unlike the French Revolution, this happened only after years of civil war between the troops of the kings and the troops that support the parliament. Also, unlike the French Revolution, the English Revolution did not bring about broad people participation in politics. Finally, in the English case, the beheading of the king ended the violence, while in French it started. As you see here, this is the first image of the beheading of the king that was made at the time. Copies of these images appeared all over Europe and shocked people everywhere, because nobody expects that a king could be killed. Curiously, the English Revolution was not called a revolution at the time. The word revolution was only used later in the way we use it today. This shows that we always have to be careful when we look at historical events. How they were described at the time does often not match the way that we would describe them today. The Dutch Revolution is similar to the English Parliament in the Netherlands. The so-called Estates General, like we see in the picture, fought against a king, in their case Philip II of Spain. Like in England, they thought it was being too despotic. In the Dutch Revolt of the late 18th century, which was party also of civil war, the northern part of the Netherlands gained and defended their independence, while the southern part, which now is Belgium, remained under the rule of the king. But also, like in England, there was not much change in the international politics and popular participation of the independent republic. In this image, we can see a gathering of Estates General in the 17th centuries. The flag shows that this assembly was a representation of different provinces of the Netherlands. Another war of independence against royal despotism was the Battle of Montjuic, which was based on Catalonia's fight with the help of the French monarchy against the Hispanic troop of Philip IV. Although the battle that we saw in this picture was a victory, the revolt did not succeed. In this picture, we can also show a much larger civil war of the period things. It's that foreign power intervened. In this, France on the side of Catalan rebels. For Holy Roman Empire 30 years war, foreign intervention was also a crucial feature of this war, when French, Spanish and other foreign countries fought on the soil of Holy Roman Empire for decades. This was the most devastating civil war of the early modern period. It was partly a religious war, but the rivalry between different states and dynasties was at least as important. As a result, little changed on the map, but the German lands were devastated. The war actually began in what is today the Czech Republic, then called Bohemia, when the emperor's envoy were thrown from the window of the castle of Prague. There were rebellion and civil war in most other parts of Europe too, and they had a lot in common with the other just mentioned. For example, the civil war in Russia at the beginning of the 17th century called the Smuta was also fought between different dynastic claimants for the throne and with the intervention of Poland. The German Peasant War, by contrast, was a genuine revolt from below, with peasant communities in various parts of Germany joining force to fight for what they saw as their traditional right and privilege that were threatened by noble and lord. They were beaten in battle, however, and the rebellion was brutally suppressed. There were so plenty of uprising, rebellion and civil wars and all over Europe in the modern period. But to come back to the beginning of this short presentation, it is still the case that the French Revolution was different from all previous uprisings. It was not only more violent, both inside and outside the country, it was also the first true revolution in the sense that it was the first with such event that brought about the will to change things like politics and society. All previous rebellions had aimed at defending right, restoring what people thought was a better past. Although the French Revolution did not start from the intention to change things. Either it quickly developed into a movement to radical change. Countless revolutions after it will try to follow it up and to continue to pursue this goal.